And sticking with the energy theme, Barry Bredenkamp joins us now. He's the Acting Operations Director at the National Energy Efficiency Agency. Barry, first up, you've launched a campaign, or you're going to be rolling out solar-powered traffic lights, and I'm sure all the people that are stuck in traffic at the moment will be very thankful to hear that. But why did it take so long to get this off the ground?
Okay, we've been looking at it for some time. We initiated a pilot program in Cape Town last year, September, to look at it, having had the problems in Cape Town last year, the brownouts and the blackouts as a result of the Coburg problem. And we saw this as an option where there is congestion at traffic intersections. We've done the pilot, we evaluated till the end of December, had fantastic results. We haven't had to use any power from the grid for actual operations. We haven't had any attempts at vandalism or theft. And we were busy putting all the reports together and doing an assessment. What's happened over the last 2 weeks has urged government to approach us and say, let's fast-track this, because it's not only about the energy prices, it's about loss in productivity, people caught in traffic, it's about emissions, people sitting in their cars, wasting petrol prices going up, oil prices going up, you're sitting idling, you're wasting petrol, accidents are happening at intersections. So it's more than just the energy, it's encompassing a lot more components of the economy, and we've been asked to fast-track that, and hence we now are putting everything to the wheel to make sure that we can actually roll out at major intersections during this year.
How much energy is used by traffic lights on a daily basis?
Well, you see, the traffic lights themselves, individual traffic lights, don't use that much. You're looking at about 14.5, 15 kilowatt hours per day, per very small intersection. If you have a big intersection with lots of traffic lights, like the Unisa Circle in Pretoria, they've got 58 traffic poles, each with 3 lights. So there you're looking at a couple of kilowatts a day. But if you add a monetary value to the loss of productivity as a result of people being caught in the traffic accidents, and you add monetary values to that, then traffic lights are actually a significant cost to the economy. And people take it for granted. We haven't realized that until now, where we've been caught in traffic for the last 2 weeks and been in a situation.
If this is rolled out across the country, though, so that theoretically all the traffic lights are off the grid, what would that increase capacity by a significant amount? Or
we're busy quantifying it now, because we're also looking at selling some of the carbon emissions as a result of taking us off the grid on the CDM market through Kyoto Protocol. But we are looking at quite a few megawatts. We would be able to free up enough energy to provide quite a few houses. We're probably a couple of medium to large size suburbs that we'll be able to use with the unserved energy as a result of using off-grid for traffic signaling.
What's the timeline on this project?
The one constraint that we have is the quality of the product is essential, because we're talking about people's lives. We don't want the congestion and the chaos to be worse than it is right now. So we're bringing technology, especially the inverters and the panels, at this stage from Switzerland. So we're importing them, and there's a lead time. We are flying in the first 200 that we can get the ball rolling. Thereafter, they'll come in batches by ship. So we're looking at towards the end of February to have a couple of installations done.
How many is a couple?
What we would like to do is to show that we free and honest and equitable, that we would like to do one in at least each of the metro cities by the end of February, first week in March. So you would have an Nelson Mandela Bay, Cape Town has already got one, Durban, Bloemfontein, Johannesburg. So that the people in those municipalities who have to maintain the systems, who have to operate the systems, can familiarize themselves and see the benefits themselves, because we've only had the one pilot in Cape Town. And so we aim to have one in each metro by end of February, first week in March, and then we'll be looking at big rollouts. So we've already got a commitment from the Johannesburg Roads Agency. We have got 2,000 intersections. They're already on board, signed and sealed to do that. So we'll then be allocating resources pro rata to each province and to each major metropolitan council, as well as the smaller ones as well.
And who's paying for it?
We've got contributions, strange enough, from big business, commitments in principle at this stage. We're going to be running a campaign which will be launching very shortly to get corporates to possibly adopt the intersections around their precincts. You know, you take, for example, Sasol in Rosebank. They've got head office is there, a lot of staff working there. If they could take 4 or 5 intersections and pay for them, which is relatively small, that would help their people get to work on time. It will obviously help the broader community, but it will improve productivity and less stress when the people get to the office. And the irony is that if they do fund this, because we're doing it as part of an R&D infrastructure rollout program, they will at the end of the tax year be able to claim 150% back of what they contribute to us for the traffic signaling. So big business would be able to contribute, and they would actually have a net benefit at the end of the tax year.
Situation.
Definitely.
What about other sources of alternative energy? Clearly, there's everybody, or we need to do as much as we can to get as much capacity on the grid as possible. How viable are things like wind farms, tidal currents? How much research has gone into that for South Africa, and how far along are those projects?
Unfortunately, on the tidal side, there's a lot of research being done, and even I was fortunate enough to be in Europe last week in Norway. They have ideal conditions for wave power, but that's still very much in a research phase. Wind power is a reality. It's happening. It's happening all over the world. It's happening in South Africa. Eskom is already looking at a 200 megawatt wind farm on the west coast. A lot of work has already been done to do that. Money wind, what we actually done at the pilot site with the traffic signaling over the weekend, we put a little mini wind turbine on the solar as well, and it's generating more than enough electricity. Obviously, the coastal areas, we're going to include this little wind generator, a very small wind generator that is part of the system. So wind capacity, where applicable, is happening.
Somewhere like Port Elizabeth, for example.
Port Elizabeth, all the coastal towns on a small scale for traffic signaling is ideal. In terms of generation capacity, there's wind flow maps that have been done quite a few years ago and are being updated now by people like the CSIR, the South African National Energy Research Institute, and government to see where are the opportunities in terms of wind. But wind will be happening without a doubt.
One of the concerns is clearly this is summer now and demand is a lot less than it will be in winter. But South African homes and businesses aren't geared up to conserve energy during winter. The way they heat the houses and offices of the country is clearly not a very efficient thing to do. How much education is being planned, or is there any education initiatives being planned to make people use energy better?
Yes. I've just come from an intergovernmental meeting now where we're looking at putting out an awareness campaign. Awareness campaign giving not just your basic tips and hints like switch off lights, but giving concrete advice to what can be done. For example, in winter, to insulate your house is a very low-cost option. In some cases, it can be a no-cost option. You can actually use materials that you have lying around the house to insulate your roof, for example. That can make a 10% difference on your account, on your bottom line, notwithstanding the fact that it's going to free up a lot of energy, just by adding insulation in your roof and around your pipes that supply hot water to the various places. So there's a lot of low-cost, no-cost options, and we will be running a very extensive education campaign, radio, TV, media, petrol station, forecourts, every possible area where we can get the message across. And that will be happening, we're talking about hopefully in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Barry, how much energy could we legitimately expect to be generating from alternative sources of energy like wind, like solar, in the near future? Or is it a short-term solution or a medium-term solution?
No. I think it's actually a long-term solution. Look, Eskom, and you just had the CEO of Eskom on the program. Eskom has indicated by 2014 they should have enough generating capacity. They're building power stations like it's going out of fashion now. There will be enough capacity to use electricity like we've been able to use in the past. I think what's then going to take over is the environmental drive. To do exactly what we're doing now to save. We're doing it now to save energy because of the crisis. But the same pressures are going to be put on us to save the environment, and the only way we'll be able to do that is through using renewable energy, energy efficiency, and doing things in our house that can contribute to that. So I don't think we should see this as a short-term initiative. We need to change habits, lifestyle. In South Africa, we've had access to abundant free energy for a long time, and we have become very wasteful. Our per capita electricity consumption, as opposed to the rest of the world, is the third highest in the world. So it's because we've had this.
Barry Bredenkamp is the Acting Operations Manager at the National Energy Efficiency Agency. And that's all from Power Lunch in association with MoneyWeb. We'll be crossing now to CNBC Europe for Power Lunch Europe with Louisa Boyson. CNBC Africa back at 4 p.m. Central African Time with me.